Oh my God, Instagram and everything went down and nobody knew what to do. I was lost. You know me, I live on Instagram. I had no idea I had to talk to niggas. Have you talked to people?
Yeah, it was.
Have you talked to people?
Ah, man, you know I teach. So the funny thing about that is when you're dealing with a different age group, dog, they didn't care.
What?
They on Tik, half of them on TikTok. So a lot of them didn't even notice. Like they didn't notice at all. Like they had no clue. The Instagram thing to me is funny because I mean Facebook just had that hit. Like the conspiracy theorist in me
Yeah.
wants to be like they whistle blowed on you and y'all had to lock them doors and erase a bunch of shit.
That's what
50% of me believes that.
How
The
many? How much?
other half, 50%.
50. Okay.
Because the other half of me is because the reports are coming out. It's funny. Facebook is Facebook.
Yeah.
And I will explain that real quick. Facebook live on Facebook. So everything that happens on Facebook has to happen on Facebook. They said some programmer wrote a code, uploaded it. It separated Facebook from the internet. And in order to fix everything, they had to log on to Facebook, which was now down. And so they couldn't log on to Facebook because they uploaded the wrong code. And the funny thing, I was like, well, what about the doors? They was like, the funny thing about that is the doors are logged on to Facebook. Like people can use their cards to get in. So I was like, on one hand, I believe in human incompetence. I do. 50% of me believes humans could be this incompetent to be like, you know what would happen? We should put everything on this one server, see what happens. On the other hand, I also believe in corruption. And it might have been both. I feel like when this thing went down, Mark started burning stuff anyway. He's like, yo, burn all of it. Like they coming for us. They compared Facebook to cigarettes. I was like, yo. I said, this man said this is just like the tobacco companies. I was like, God, look, I know Facebook might have lied about some stuff, but for y'all to compare this to nicotine, y'all are coming for this man's throat. The only thing I wish. Oh no, go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I mean, it is mind control and whatnot, that they're saying that these people are
I get that
are guilty of. I think it can be as bad as cigarettes,
It could be. But I mean, and I know people felt like they was jonesing for Facebook and Instagram yesterday. But the only thing that I wish would happen, and this is truly because Lil Boosie posted a thing like, yo, they took me off of Instagram and Instagram went down, which I thought was funny. And the only thing that would really make me super happy is if Congress called Boosie down to testify against Mark Zuckerberg. Like, I would love to have Boosie in front of all the nation saying, Mark Zuckerberg wouldn't return my phone call.
That burger is bothering me.
The burger is hilarious. I want him to call. I want Bootsy to look at Nancy Pelosi and be like, Mark Zuckerberg.
He always does
my Instagram account. I would love that. I would love that.
He is hilarious. Boosie's having a decent week. That's
I heard the movie is great.
Yeah.
I heard the movie is really good. I haven't got a chance to see it, but I've heard the movie is like, and the kind of, I like all types of films, and they was like, you would like it. I was like, all right.
I want to see it.
I'm definitely going to get a chance to get it. I'm definitely going to watch it.
Boosie music. I got to see this man movie. It's crazy. Yeah. This dude is. He's been consistent for a while, I guess that's what it is when he's just a young entrepreneur, a young black and ugly as ever. However, I stay Houston down to my socks. Once again, it's in my humble opinion. Yes, my name is Avery, like a very nice guy. Ding. We don't do that in post. I always say that we are, but we're post and we're not doing it. And I got my brother with me, my co-host, the best writer this side of the Mississippi. My brother, Just Devon, ladies and gentlemen. Just Devon, how you doing?
I'm good. Everything's good so far.
That's great. Great. I'm glad that you're doing well. And that's always a good thing. You can find us everywhere in My Humble Opinion podcast. You can find us everywhere where you're looking for a podcast and also on the YouTube. Yes. In My Humble Opinion on the YouTube and on all social media, My Humble O. Now, once again, we do focus on, Black entrepreneurs. People are doing music. Anybody that's just getting out there doing business. And one of the pieces of the hip hop culture is that amazes me is we're in Houston, and if you know Houston, there's something that's huge. Pimp C said it best: look at a nigga up and down like he a superstar. They ain't tripping on me. They want to fuck my car. Pimp C's words were descriptive of the car culture in Houston. And from Fat Pat to Kiki to Paul, and as current as the Smush Brothers, your ride has been a very big focal point in the city of Syrup. Now, our next guest, he's a businessman. Him alongside his partner D, with $4,000 to his name, took it upon themselves in order to take their love for cars and make a business with it. Now, specializing in car customization, paint, wheels, wraps, luxury car rentals, and even innovating the use of the face mask, but he'll tell you about that. With their royal treatment that they provide, they are making a lasting impression. Southsider, fly rider, and entrepreneur, amongst other things, Big B of Next Level Automotive, ladies and gentlemen. How are you?
Man, I'm just very happy to be here. Straight up. Yes, sir. Thank y'all for having me, though, for real. Appreciate that.
This is fantastic. We appreciate you coming out. Now, I'll be honest with you. Like, my brother is into cars. I'm not into cars, but I am into, like, the customization of cars. If I see a TikTok, a YouTube, like, the people that go into making cars unique and building and stuff like that, that kind of stuff always interests me.
Sure.
Were you always into this idea of changing vehicles or things like that? Or, like, how did you even decide to move in that direction?
I ain't gonna lie, like, literally as a kid, I used to get those lowrider magazines, and I grew up, on the south side of Houston, Texas. It was my grandma's house in South Park. So the people you were mentioning, I saw them ride up down the street, like the Fat Pats, the little Kikis. And so, you just naturally fall in love with the culture because it's in your face. You know what I mean? So I'm looking out the window and I see them banging and swinging down the street because they stay right off of MLK. So I'm literally seeing everybody with this culture, shoving their culture down my throat, per se. So I feel like I naturally fell in love because I was right there watching it all unfold.
And, for an outsider looking at the culture, and for a lot of people, I mean, like, I think about, one of the first things, if you're talking about somebody that doesn't know anything about cars, that has lived, any decent amount of time, you think about, like, MTV's Pimp My Ride and stuff like that, where they started to get ridiculous. But that did show that window into the West Coast car culture. And when you talk about the lowrider magazines, a lot of that stuff came from the West Coast.
Right.
Eventually, I mean, you guys started out on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, we actually had a shop. It was crazy because, like, I love the LA culture so much and just how they were so innovative. We got a shop in Long Beach first. So we were out there like dang near a year before we even touched Houston, as far as the business. But, it was being there, seeing how fast they move, how much money they spend, and, like, it wasn't even a question. I love my city, but we some bargain shoppers down here. Like, just being real, I love it. But out there, they spoil you because it's like, you tell somebody 7,000 for something, they don't even bat an eye. Out here, like, man, my partner told me 53. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, bro. All right, I do a 55. Come on. You know what I'm saying? Because but again, it's still all love. This is my city. I would never trade it for the world, but you just got spoiled on the West Coast. They were spending money that unquestioned, unquestioned, unbattled.
Now, how long did y'all operate that shop on the West Coast? And then at what point did you guys make the decision? Like, what made y'all make the decision? Like, yo, okay, let's come back down to Houston.
Well, I was out, like, I was going back and forth for like a year and a half. I was in LA at least twice a month. And just honestly, I was like, man, you know what? I can't keep coming back out here. I mean, it's cool, but I was coming to Houston. I was like, I got to do something here. This is where I'm from. It don't make sense to be still a resident in Houston, Texas, and not have it, a location here in Houston. So, like I said, about a year into it, I was like, we're going to do something here. And we started off like in a unit that's probably like literally no exaggeration, 700 something square feet. Like it was a one row garage to drive in. We could fit a car and a half, a car and like a scooter maybe. You know what I mean? Because it was a tight space, but it just really just grew so fast. And I'm to this day just thankful about it, just how fast it just took off.
Absolutely. Now, what would you say, even moving back from the West Coast down here, what were some of those major differences between, besides the price, besides the bargaining, because we
For
are a
sure.
bargaining city.
You're right, and I ain't mad.
We
I
live in
grew
the
up like that
park,
too.
but we are we parking lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
We don't even go inside the club. But the other thing about that parking lot is people like to show off their cars here, but the cars here usually have a different level of customization than we're talking about on the West Coast. It's totally different styles. So what was some of those big changes when you were moving from the West Coast and coming back down here?
Honestly, I mean, like, I don't want to sound like Soldier Boy, but I feel like we were one of the first people to really start innovating like the whole idea of wrapping your car. Because at the time, you know, everybody was into paint, and still there's people that are really heavy on still paint. You know what I mean? And that's what I grew up on. But on the West Coast, they were wrapping like 15, 20 years ago. They was already doing car wraps, but they did it so good, it looked like a paint job. So coming down here, really, I feel like we really show people that you can wrap your car, we get it done faster. You got the same thing, you can change your car 4 or 5 times, you know, shoot, a month if you wanted to. And that was something I feel like we just really took from the West Coast and showed people. And before, you know, not everybody knows what a wrap is now. But at one point it was like that was unheard of. When you think of rap, you think about a business that, you know, like a Shipley's or McDonald's truck that got, you know, a company wrap. Nobody was thinking about having an actual color wrapped on a vehicle like that.
And that is one of those things, because before it was like when I would think about wraps, I mean, probably like 10, 15 years ago, you would think about like a truck.
Exactly.
Like a van, like a work van.
Exactly.
Like, oh, I'm gonna wrap this. All right.
Right.
But you guys are doing this to high-end vehicles. The other thing I would say too is like when you see you guys work, there is a lot of higher end West Coast kind of influence. Like it looks like you plucked the shop up out of LA and you brought it to Houston.
Exactly.
That feel.
And that's how we actually started with the name too. Just like Next Level Automotive on paper, we wanted to say NLA. So we kind of plugged Next Level Automotive later. So that like the N, the L, and the A was representing, like you saw it on the sticker in California or on the plate, you would say, you know, like the business is in LA. You know what I mean? So we just plugged Next Level Automotive and discussed it. It's crazy.
That's good marketing, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that definitely works. That definitely works.
Yeah, for sure.
You can tell by the smile. You can tell by that chain too. It worked.
For real, man. I'm just thankful for sure. Because it's just like crazy. Because, you know, you got to think about when you're in your bedroom or you're on the phone with somebody throwing some ideas around, you're not thinking that it's gonna be what it is now. Like all this stuff, like shirts and caps, like this was stuff we were wearing like personally. But then, you know, you get people asking like, where can I get that from, or where can, you know what I'm saying? Like that was, I ain't gonna lie, that was not the idea out the gate to be selling merchandise. We was just doing cars, and this is what we were wearing. But when people ask you about it, it's like that's a whole nother business inside the business doing apparel.
Yeah. And I mean, let's talk about like the beginning of the actual business itself. Like my brother was talking about in his opener, you and your partner started this with $4,000.
Man, which is nothing.
Okay.
It's
nothing.
not.
You're right. It's not a lot.
It's business.
Yeah.
There are definitely people that are like, yo, $4,000 is a lot, but
$4,000 for a lick is a lot. $4,000 for a business is not.
Yeah,
exactly.
You're thinking about $4,000 personally. I'm like, $4,000. Yeah. So my thing is, I mean, and let's try to get in some of the business aspect of that. I mean, when you start off with $4,000, like, what are your priorities in terms of how you're going to start this business? Because some stuff is going to have to go by the wayside until you can get it later. And other stuff, like, I know you got a vision, but you're like, yo, I got 4,000. Like, we can't get all that we want right now.
Exactly. So the initial thing I could tell you what we got was lights and internet and like I think like a TV. You just one TV for you know, visual purposes. But like I remember we even got a couch from somebody. It was it was the worst couch ever. You ever sat on the couch and they had like that sticky glaze residue? The leather is separated. Oh man, I couldn't wait till we made some money. We had to finally go get a couch because I was like, bro, this is embarrassing. People sit down on the couch. You got couch transferred to their jeans. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh my God. But but people that really supported us, like they didn't even care. They just were so happy with the work. But we was just so big on the image, like across the board. Like, the car is one thing, but we want you to come inside and feel like, it's next level everything, not just the product we put out, but also the place that you're coming into.
And that's one of the major things too, where I'm thinking about like you guys starting out with $4,000, but when you look at you guys' work, the office, the building, everything, there's a
Right.
major focus on the overall look and aesthetics. Like you're coming into a professional environment, you're about to get some work done. Like this is top quality. I mean, there are shops that do like quality work, but you walk in, you're like, "Dog, what are we in? Like, what's happening?"
Right.
Like I was like, I feel like I'm about to get robbed. But
exactly.
Your shop was different. So placing that focus on aesthetic, like, how was it when you first started out, where you're like, everything don't look the way I want it to look yet?
Man, and it's crazy. Honestly, that was burning me up more than anything because just natural as people, we judge. Like you judge before you even open your mouth, before you do anything. So in my mind, I feel like we definitely lost some business in the beginning because we didn't have the aesthetics inside, so we had to work extra hard to just really sell the product per se and just the namesake. But now I feel like because we got to the point where we have the aesthetics, like literally people come in, they feel comfortable, they hang around. We got games in there. Like we can't make people leave sometimes. We'd be like, all right, so what you about to do? I didn't call so many Lyfts and Ubers for people just because it's cool, but they just literally hanging around. Like it's crazy, but it's a blessing like to see literally like the transition. Because in the beginning when we were sitting there and trying to put everything together, and just like man, like we get a couch here or get a chair here, and then like we got the first big purchase, I say big purchase because we bought a painting from a guy out here locally, and shout out to him for the Double R. He's an artist, local artist. And that was probably like the most expensive thing we had in the whole building. Like literally, like we had these wood walls, but this beautiful painting, and everybody, oh, this painting is nice. And they look around like, yeah, that's it though. It's like, you know what I'm saying? But that painting kind of set the standard because it was like we spent so much money on that art that represented what we were trying to get to. And now it's like that painting is still there, but everything else around it is nice also.
So everything else just kind of rose to the level of what you wanted.
Man, and it's so what? During COVID is when we did a full remodel. Like, and I know we had some questions about that too, but like COVID, we had that time during COVID, we were able to really tear walls down and really do what we had been envisioned to do to that building.
Now, I mean, you guys have been in operation for over 15 years.
Yeah.
At what point, I mean, like you said, if from the beginning you had people supporting you, but at what point do you really feel like, all right, this is moving, this is becoming exactly what we wanted it to become?
I think like for me, like I'm gonna be honest, like this is gonna sound so creepy. Like I went to HEB one time and I was in the grocery store and I seen a woman I ain't never seen before. I know she probably thought I was a stalker. So woman, wherever you are, please forgive me. But she had a Next Level shirt on, and I didn't know her. And like I in my mind, I feel like nobody that I knew. I took pictures of her and sent it to my friends while I'm following around the store. Like, do y'all know her? It's like, nah, we don't know her. So to me, I think that was my moment. Like, dang, we really doing something because here's a person that I ain't met. I don't know. She don't even know me because I looked at her. She looked at me and she looked like, what's going on? Why are you staring at me? You know what I'm saying? So I was like, dang, we really doing something because now it's like we got a person who's buying the product who has no attachment. They don't know anybody. Ain't somebody cousin or auntie. This is just somebody who liked what you have and bought the product. Like at that moment, I feel like, dang, now we actually cooking with grease. Now we doing something.
And that's a big thing. And I think it's something that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially successful ones, don't tell other people, or maybe entrepreneurs pass up, is like, it's one thing to sell a product to people that like and know you.
Right.
It's another thing when it starts selling to people that don't know you and might not like you at all. Like, you know what I mean?
Right. Facts, though. This is facts. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean that's a great moment for y'all. I mean, even going back, like at what point were you saying like, hey, let's just go ahead and start branding the clothing as well? Because you've got a full business in terms of the cars, but now you're like, okay, let's also move into clothing.
And honestly, I think it was the people that were asking, and then my buddy Darian. Darian is a guy that came in like and really redesigned the logo for us too, because even this new logo we have now, this is like the updated. I call it the Next Level 2.0. It's the updated version or whatever. Because the first we had like the block letters of Next Level, which was cool, but like this give it that little extra little oomph that everybody kind of really liked. And he just came in and said, "Man, look, really honestly, you can be $1 million out for clothes. I mean, cars are cool. Y'all doing y'all thing with that, but imagine if you had a whole separate inventory and revenue on just apparel." And I was like, all right, let's do it. And literally he took it, ran with it, redesigned it. And here we are now. We're doing everything from shirts to caps, socks. We got shorts and all kind of crap. So definitely because of him.
Definitely all types of product. One of those products, which y'all almost appear to be like, I mean, this is pre-pandemic.
Man, yes, let's talk about that. Yes.
Y'all were selling masks already. This is before we even knew what coronavirus was.
Man.
Oh, please tell us why were y'all selling masks, and then what was the effect afterwards?
And I got to back a little bit because when we first did the mask, like literally, even my buddies at the shop, they laughed at me. They was like, "You look stupid. Like, you think you Michael Jackson or something?" Like, but for me, my problem was I wouldn't say I'm a germaphobe, but I travel a lot. So on the plane, everybody was, of course, it's before pandemic, people were just naturally nasty. Like they were on there coughing with their mouth open, not washing their hands, and that was just nasty. So I was wearing the mask. Like literally, you go on my Instagram, I have mask pictures before the pandemic and telling people, "Hey, look, we got these masks for like, I think we were selling for like $15." But when the pandemic hit, we had masks on deck. We cleaned up. Lord forgive me. But we cleaned up on pandemic because people didn't have masks, and remember everybody was scrambling and they was buying them all up. But we had stock, so we were selling them bad boys like $25, $30 a mask. Like
okay.
Yeah, so it was crazy.
And I mean, look, I'm with you on the fault. First off, I'm not gonna call myself a germaphobe, but I enjoy the fact that people are wearing masks now.
Oh yeah,
me too.
I know people be like, if it ain't even a political thing. I was like, all right, first off, this pandemic showed me things I knew. Y'all don't wash y'all's hands. I knew this
at all,
but now we know for a fact that because some of y'all was like, you gotta wash your hands for 30 seconds. Yes. What if
you gotta instruct somebody on how long to wash your hands? They let you know you was already pre-nasty.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. And the mask thing, and you're right, especially in airports, you got circulated air, you got people coming from all over the place, and this is what it is. So I'm definitely pro. Like, I would see video, it's fashionable in other cultures. Like in Japan, they got people just, you'll see somebody wearing a mask, you see somebody not. And then the mask just look cool. Like, that's just what it is. But I was like, it also keep you a little protected.
For sure.
That's it. The other thing, too, about COVID is, like, you are dealing in automotive. And in the automotive industry is getting extremely affected by COVID because of these supply chains. So, yeah, I mean, from your perspective, can you explain what's happening in the automotive and the car culture, and how are you guys pushing through it?
Yeah, like it's crazy because like literally when the pandemic first hit, first of all, none of us have dealt with this before. We didn't know what to expect. So I'm just going to talk about it in different layers. Like, so business wise, first thing with that, we didn't know what was going to happen. I literally went to the shop every day still during COVID. Like even when it first happened, like I'm talking about, you could walk on the highway. Everybody knew, wasn't nobody on the roads, but we literally went to the shop every day. But then like about that second or third week, that phone started ringing even more. And I was confused, but I realized now people have more time because, everything was shut down. You couldn't do anything but like Now you can work on your car. Now you got time to do with that old job that you've been wanting to do because you don't have to go to work right now. So it's like we really got more busy during the pandemic. And I hate the fact that lives were lost, families were affected, and things like that. And people's finances were definitely uprooted and changed. But like the automotive industry literally got so busy, like, and made a bunch of money. I don't know if they're gonna tell it like that in the the world like that, but they did. Like parts are hard to find even right now. Car value has went up. My buddy prior to the pandemic had a Camaro trying to sell. I think the dealership wanted to give him maybe like 11 grand before the pandemic. He sold it on the pandemic, the same car with more miles for like 17 grand.
Yeah.
But it's because you can't get cars, you know what I mean? It's like everything is in such demand. So the automotive industry really like became even more big, stronger billionaires just because of the demand and everybody, when they got their money, however they got their money, they was buying stuff. And hey, I ain't know about however they got the money, they was buying stuff in abundance. And yeah, the automotive industry ate off of that, like heavily. People were buying cars that they never thought they could afford and still can't afford. But that's another story too. But for the moment, they look clean pulling up through Caros. I ain't mad at them.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I mean, we also talk about that. I mean, for y'all, when you look at the services and everything you're offering, and this looks like a celebrity type car shop. This looks like a celebrity automotive service center. But you guys, you guys give that celebrity that celebrity service to everybody.
Exactly. So, I mean, and that's our motto.
All right. So, I mean, talk about what was behind it, because you guys could have been like, yo, I'm just gonna, when I first saw the shop, I was just like, that must just be for rappers. Like, that's it. Oh, you have to have money, like a lot of money to go here. All right. But I mean, when you look at it and when you look at you guys' mission in terms of making sure that everybody's getting that service, what was behind the idea of that?
I guess just the idea of like I've been that person before. Like, when I was putting my cars together, as a youth and my teenage years, like I felt like the places I went to, they treated me like a certain way as long as, I was coming in there shopping, they greeted me, they took care of me, and they worked with me on like sure I had layaways, I had 90-day terms, and you know what I mean? They just they never made me feel like I wasn't like the guy that was paying for the things I write in cash. So I just feel like those kind of relationships and the way I was treated then, I always want to carry that on, not just through business, but even through personal life. Like I try to treat everybody with the same amount of respect as I would want myself. So every customer, I don't care if they spending $100 or even, 10,000, we're gonna give them the same love, same respect, because I know one day that $100 customer might be that $10,000 customer. The tables turn every day, and people, they get money, and should they get a job, better jobs, situations change. Everybody's not always up, everybody's not always down. So you got to make sure the person that's down, you treat them good. When they're up, treat them the same way, whatever, no matter.
Now, for you personally, like, what's your favorite car to work on? Our favorite car you've done?
Man, that's tough. Like, ooh, okay. I think one of the my favorite cars is the car we did for Braxton Miller for the Texans, and that's because it was on the Mercedes S550, and we gutted the whole car. And the reason why it was one of my favorites because at the time everybody was so afraid to mess with the car. They was like, "You gonna take the interior out?" We painted everything and redid everything in the car all red, from the dash to the seats to the carpet, and people thought we were nuts. So this is when we did it. It just made everybody realized, like, man, they can really do anything, because it ain't like doing like a box Chevy. Because those cars, you kind of just unbolt a couple of things and everything comes apart. You're talking about a car that's literally LED lights and everything's computerized. So people are afraid to touch it, because if you do one thing wrong, you can fry that whole computer in that car and it's a wrap. So that project for sure was definitely one of my favorite ones.
And then the other thing too, I mean, even speaking on that, like being in this business for over 15 years, almost 2 decades, you've seen this evolution of cars where, I mean, 15, 20 years ago, there was no Tesla. There was no, like, now we're getting to the point where not only do you have, it's not a Chevy. There was a point where it was like, yo, I'm gonna sell you this car and you can go find a mechanic and work on it whenever you want. And now you have these car companies that are like, that it's almost like they're building stuff so nobody else touch it, just us.
Man,
And
that's
like
funny you
we're
said
the
that.
only people that want to touch it. So tell us about watching that evolution occur and how you guys get around it, because I'm always interested in watching people get around those and keep business flowing.
And it's funny you said that because, like, specifically, Tesla is that company that's like that. Like, we just recently fixed the Tesla, and trying to get parts for it is like, I'm talking about you. It's easy to walk in the White House and get parts for a Tesla unless you're not going through Tesla, because literally the guy had front end damage, and to get the parts, we had to get on like a waiting list and had to email somebody. They called you when they were ready to talk. You know what I mean? I was like, this is crazy. But the customer, we had to go through the customer. They were on the list in the system, but they bought the car from them and got the parts, and then we fixed the car that way. But Tesla is really one of those companies that really makes you want to only go through them. They don't want outside people touching their cars for real. But we did it, so. Nah.
No, like that, because Tesla, I tell people they're like the iPhones of cars. Like they
No,
literally
seriously.
they build their stuff almost. I mean the screws, the parts. I mean, that's why I compared it to Apple, because
Yeah.
there's a guy I follow online that only fixes Teslas, but he
Mhm.
talks about the headaches of having to fix a Tesla. Like
Yes.
dog, they don't make it easy for you at all.
At all. He ain't lying. He is not lying. That was like a nightmare. I thought it was like a joke. Like, are you serious? We trying to fix this car? Like, okay, you can bring it in. Then the guy said, bring it in 3 weeks. Like 3 weeks? Like you have to wait to go to them to it's just a mess. Like, nah, I ain't with that. We
Nah.
figured it out.
And
For real.
And I take it when you do stuff like that, like when you do the Mercedes you're talking about, or the Tesla, your name gets out there more because people are like, oh, they did it.
Exactly, because people will call and be like, hey, are you authorized dealer? Are you certified to work in these cars? And then I'll just say, hey, look, I'll send you pictures and, let you see the before and after. And you tell me if you want to shop or do business with us. I don't like to just say, oh, we do X, Y, Z. Everybody says that, but I'll show you the stuff we've actually done. And you tell me if you want to shop with us or do business with us.
Now, tell us about like all of the services that Next Level offers for people that just don't know.
Okay, so we do, of course, wheels and tires, paint, body work, working insurance claims, towing cars, shipping cars state to state, of course, rebuilding cars like old schools, do motor work, do oil changes, tune-ups, like literally anything you can think about, we do. That comes with a car, truck, boat. We worked on boats. I fixed the 18-wheeler before there was an accident. I put seats in the boat. I mean, it don't matter. If it run bicycle, we did bicycles before. So like literally, it don't even matter.
And I kind of saw that because I wanted you to make sure to let people know, because a lot of people might be like me and look at it and be like, hey man, like they ain't gonna look at my stuff.
Right.
You know what I mean? So how do you guys get over that hurdle too of making sure like, yo, look, I mean, of course we do all this stuff, like, but because we can do this high level stuff, we can do anything. Like, how do you make sure everybody knows you can do that?
And I think we do that by just posting the good, bad, and the ugly. Because everybody can post the Bentley, everybody can post the Mercedes, everybody posts the G wagons and all the Teslas. But we'll post that Honda Accord, or we'll post that Toyota Camry, or you know what I'm saying, just a regular car, so people know like we don't discriminate on the year, make, and model. It can be old. I ain't talking about the 28 because the new Camrys is hard. I don't know if y'all seen them bad boys.
Oh man,
the new
that
Camrys is hard.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm talking about we'll post that, that 2015 Camry, or that, that 2012 Camry that had their front end damage, and we fixed that. Like, there's no discrimination on age of the vehicle or make, model. It doesn't matter. Like, if it's fixable, we're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, this is we're a Houston podcast. We always talking about Houston rappers, Houston entertainers, Houston music. Who are some of the people in Houston that you have worked on cars for?
Definitely. Shoot. As far as rappers,
I mean, it can be rappers and athletes more. Just tell it. Who you got?
Literally, we got so many freaking footballs in there. Like, we work, of course, Adrian Peterson. Dang, I'm forget people. You put me on the spot. I'm looking at the wall. We got Lonnie Johnson to play for the Texas. Shoot. Of course, I told you about the other guy. We did his other Texas player. Dang. Now tomorrow, I'm gonna have all these names on top of my head.
Yeah.
They did a lot of the Texas players. We definitely did a lot of them. But a couple, even WNBA players for sure. Like we done, man, bunch of them. Rappers, not too many rappers per se. Like I'm definitely cool. Like with Slim Thug. Like definitely, we see each other. We always speak. We just been around for so long. We like the old heads out here in the streets now, so we just always speak. But man, there's so many people. Like again, from Roger Clemens done something for him before. I'm trying to think who else. Oh yeah, Trez Harrell, the one that played now he's at, I think he's at the Clippers now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, I texted the other day, like, good dude. Like, it's so crazy. These people, what I love about all of them is like, for a moment, I think even me, we're guilty of seeing them on TV and forgetting that they're actually human. You know what I mean? Like they're just regular people. Like they be like, "What up, bro?" Like, man, you know who you are. Like I just see you dunk on somebody. Like, you know what I mean? But they won't. They got regular wants and needs like us too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And it's nice it's nice that you're out here still able to provide. You're providing service for celebrities, but you're also for us normal folk as well. But you're also like contributing to the community.
Oh, for sure, we big on that.
And yeah, let's talk about some of the community give backs that you guys have done.
Oh yeah, we did a lot of turkey drives or Christmas. We fed families, closed families, bought presents and stuff like that. Like honestly, last year probably was like the most emotional year because we said we were gonna pick, I think, 3 families and we're just gonna give them everything from food to toys. So we actually went to them, we wasn't on camera, none of that kind of stuff, but we selected the families got suggested to us that we selected 3 families. We brought them toys. And when I tell you, just to see the joy from what I say, the things we take for granted, and there's some people's face. I was talking about the lady had me in there literally crying in the house because I'm bringing toys that to me, like, don't get me wrong, like it's nice stuff, but we buying freaking $500 PlayStations and they were happy with $5 and $20 toys just to give something to their kids. But I think she had like 4 kids and she was taking care of her kids, and then one of her other kids that committed suicide like a week before. I'm just like, man, but because of the stress of their financial situation and just dealing with life, it's just, we never know what somebody's really going through, and sometimes we don't realize how blessed we really are on just the simple things, like just being able to, the first is past. Some people trying to figure out how to pay their rent still today, you know what I'm saying? And we over here just talking to each other and talking about success, and other people trying to figure out what I'm gonna eat tonight. Dang, it's cold or it's hot in the house. I can't pay my light bill. You know what I'm saying? And we watching Netflix and chilling, doing whatever. So like just seeing those families, like the small things that they just really appreciate, it just does something to your spirit for real.
Absolutely. Now, what are some of the things that you want to see Next Level doing? At one point, like when you had the $4,000 and you opened up the 700 square foot shop, you guys had a vision for what you wanted to do. And now at this point where you're at now, what is the vision for the future?
Man, just more expansion, because like now we got to the level where we're dealing with even with real estate, and that's just because we've been shipping cars to so many places. You go places, you see the market for it, and we got property in Houston, of course, LA, New Orleans, and Miami even also. So just expanding more and keep building those connections, relationships with people in other cities and other states, just to keep making people aware that Next Level is just not just a company here. It's a mindset and a way of life that every person really should be wanting to elevate and take their life to the next level and whatever they're doing, even if it's not just with cars per se. Just if you're a teacher, you should want to be like the superintendent at the school, the principal at the school or something. Just everybody be leveling up. Don't ever be stagnant, whatever position, whatever you got going on. Always look to see what can I do to be the better me, regardless of whatever you're doing in life.
And I mean, what are your thoughts too as you're trying to get, like, what about new businesses appeal to you in terms of branching out? Like at one point you were presented with the idea of moving into clothing. And there was something about that appealed in terms of expanding on that. Now you're talking about moving into real estate. Like, what is it about these different ventures that expand out, and what do you take from the business that you're already doing now and apply it to those in order to kind of guarantee your success?
I think really just that marketing and just always being in somebody's face and being in different places. Like one thing that's consistent with any business is just being able to communicate and talk to people and just treat people with respect. I think anything you do, if you do that well, no matter what you're selling, whether it be water or egg sandwiches, like if you know what I mean, you will buy something from somebody just because the way they talk to you sometimes. You might not even need it, but just the way somebody kind of approaches you or handles you, you will want to support whatever they have going on. So I feel like just using that same energy and applying that to everything that we're doing and showing people, even like these other cities, like the places we're getting are really, really nice places. But when they travel, hey, look, some people didn't tell them, hey, you can stay over here in these places, these high rises and these nice lofts and stuff like that for a fraction of the price when you come to town. You ain't got to stay in the Marriott. That's old. Like you want to stay over here, right here on the side of the beach, and I be that connection to show you how to do that. Right? That's another thing. Some people come in, they ask me for ideas. I don't have any problem sharing ideas and what to do in business to make it, work for you, whatever it is.
Okay. Okay. Now, I mean, even in terms of share, I mean, even as that idea of like you don't have any problem sharing ideas and in terms of
Mhm.
working with people, I mean, what do you look for when you're looking at business partners or whether expanding out with people or things like that? Because it's a business. There are people out there
Right.
that are shady. They out to cut your throat. There are people out
Definitely.
there that are not going to show their full hand, and there are
Right.
also people out there that are like, look, I just need help, and they could be a great asset to the business. So
Mhm.
when you're looking and you're deciding about networking, things like that, what are some of the thoughts you're thinking about?
Man, honestly, I just think about somebody's just what they putting into it because the last thing you want to do is get in something with somebody and you're like basically doing their job for them. Like they have to show the effort that you just like when the bank, when you want to bank, the main reason why a bank wants a business plan is not to just look at it. They want to see what have you done or what can you put in place to make it work and make it make sense. And that's the same thing for me. If somebody comes to me and they already have something going on, they're already trying to do something or they're already out there like moving their product or trying to make the product move, I'm gonna try to help them any kind of way. I think I support more independent businesses than anything else. Like if somebody I done bought shirts and stuff from people, sometimes didn't wear it, but just because I like what they're trying to do and they're going in a positive direction, I would support them because I would want somebody to do the same thing for me because that sale, that purchase, that little conversation we have might make that person want to keep going and really do something else that's going to really blow them up. And that's what it's all about. Just supporting people, not necessarily at the lowest, but we know when they're growing. Everybody supports somebody when they're on the level of McDonald's, but when they out there selling a burger on a brown bag with no name on it, did you buy that cheeseburger then? Or did you wait till they had to make double and everybody in the world wanted it? You know what I'm saying? So you got to support them when they just really coming up with their creation. Because people like that, they're gonna remember you when they blow up. They're gonna reach back to you too.
Now, and even on that aspect where you're talking about, I mean, yeah, you're talking about looking at these other entrepreneurs that are coming up. At one point, y'all were coming up as entrepreneurs,
Right.
and
Mhm.
the other thing too is, and we've talked to other people that have had businesses and they've gained that success, and there's this kind of common thread of people support you as you gain success. Like it's easier to support. Like when I was like, "Yo, hey, I got $4,000. I got 700 square feet," and
Right.
you might not feel that level of support until people
Right.
start like, "Oh, okay, now he's successful." It's like now the waves of support come. One,
Exactly.
how do you deal with that? How does that? I mean, genuinely, how does that make you feel? And
I
then
mean,
two, how
I
you attack it?
I feel like you got to treat everybody accordingly because, like, at the same time, it's like some people they don't see your vision. Like your vision is a lot of times bigger than they could even fathom or even put together. So some people just intentionally are being disrespectful, but some people really just can't even foresee the things that you have in mind. Like, for example, being personal about it, like my mom didn't foresee the idea I had. Like I tell people I was poor for a long time, struggled for a long time. And my mama said, well, baby, your cousin work at UPS, I get you a job over there. And I was like, no disrespect. I've had plenty of jobs, but for what I'm trying to do, if this is going to work, I have to stick to this. I can't just cop out because it's not going to work. I'm going to be giving up on what I really want to do. So it's hard for people to see, your thoughts until your thoughts become reality. So you have to just really just keep pushing at that and really believe in it. It almost like insanity to tell somebody like I'm gonna do this and be like, oh, okay, yeah, sure. You know what I mean? But with those words, you have to put the actions behind it. Like I literally still to this day go to the mall, pass out business cards. I put business cards on people's cars. So everything that you did in the beginning, you can't walk away from it just because you get quote unquote some fame or success or a good run. You have to do everything you're doing now and what you was doing when you first got on. So if you see me in the parking lot, in between cars, I ain't breaking in. I'm just putting a card on your window. Like I still do that to this day.
Now, mom sees the vision now, though, right?
Oh, of course. Like now it's like she even apologized. That was a funny comment. She's like, "Babe, I want to just tell you was right, and Mama love you." As we board the plane to go to Mexico.
And that's what I was gonna lead up to. That conversation leading up that point.
Yeah.
What prompted that point? Like, what was the point where she was like, "Oh, I get it. Like, you got it going." What caused that to happen?
I think because my mom didn't know how big what we were doing was until people in church started telling her, like, I see your son over here. So my mom wasn't on, so she on Facebook now. That's why I gotta post respectfully on Facebook all the time. But she wasn't on Facebook, so she didn't know. So she was seeing stuff like articles that was popping up, people was doing write-ups, and so people were telling her, she was like, what are y'all talking about? You know what I mean? Because I didn't go and tell her everything we was doing. I'm just her son, you know what I mean? So she's not thinking that it's doing that. She just, she just know, okay, my son has a business. That's it. She not thinking, no, they really outside, like for real. Like you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So the church ushers was telling her, like, yeah, your son, I know you proud, baby. And she said, let me log on Facebook and see what's going on. So then she saw everything was like all the different articles and the people we was with, and like I remember I went to we went to Jamie Foxx's house. We was in LA, and I sent her the picture at Jamie Foxx's house with Jamie Foxx. She said, "That's so funny." I said, "What?" She said, "That guy looks so much like Jamie Foxx." I said, "Mama, it is Jamie Foxx." And she said, "What? How did?" I said, "I'll call you back later." You know what I mean? Because she couldn't even then fathom what was going on. But hey, now she knows.
Nah, that's good. That's good. It's funny what parents will take for your success. Like you could be doing a bunch of stuff, but they got to see that one thing. Like
that's what I'm saying.
Say something to them, or they got to see you with Jamie Foxx. It's like I've been doing it, but they're like, I didn't know.
Yeah, she was like, I had no idea that you was doing all of that. Like, I just never been that person. I never been the person to be like, we about to, you know what I mean? Because I feel like when you speak certain things before they happen, you can either foreshadow and just put some negative juju on it. Just allow things to happen and let people see it. And then when they comment, then we can have a conversation about it. I don't ever want to pre-speak on something.
Now, we talked about the best car that you've worked on, like the car that you've enjoyed the most. I don't want to say worst because that's it. But which one gave you the most difficulty to get the job done?
Man, it had to be this guy who he just really was attached to this car. Like honestly, this is gonna sound bad, Lord forgive me, but the amount of money that it took to get the car wasn't worth that. But he had sentimental attachment to the car, so I never disrespected him. I never told him don't do this, but this because this is something he wanted for whatever reason. I never know the story behind the car. Like that might have been the car you kissed your girl the first time in. I don't know the story. So, but it was an old Camry. We put a new motor in there, like new interior and everything, and he was happy as can be. But to me, I was just puzzled. Like, spent a lot of money on that Camry, brother. Like. He was happy. So at the end of the day, guess what? That's all that mattered. He went to the next level his way. So it's cool.
There you go. Next level his way.
Yeah. Have any kind of sentimental value. You never know what they attach it to.
That's what I'm saying. Like I can't speak for its attachment. I would never disrespect somebody's situation because we don't know the story behind it. So
yeah, my first car was like a Buick 225.
Okay.
It was an old car I bought from somebody, and I remember my dad was like, "Yeah, get that. That's good." And then later when we were on, he was like, "A deuce and a quarter," and I was like,
"Deuce and a quarter, yeah."
That's what he kept calling it. And then, first of all, that car never went anywhere. Like the car never went anywhere. That man used to just sit in the car in the garage. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, no, you
Yeah.
wanted this car. This is a big radio, man. That's all this is, dog.
I'm trying to tell you, how many parties you'd have with a deuce and a quarter in the parking lot. For real.
Well, I mean, before we get out of here, man, you got to let people know, like, how can they find y'all, where to find y'all, the location of the shop, all that stuff, where to find the brand, everything. Just let people know how they can get in contact with you and just support Next Level.
Okay, for sure. Well, the shop is Next Level Automotive. We're at 7315 Ashcroft, Suite 110, Houston, Texas 77081. We're on Facebook, Next Level Automotive. Instagram is Next Level Automotive. My personal page is BIGBEE713, represent H-Town to the fullest. That's why I got that on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter's Next Level Auto M1. What else? My grandma page number is 713. But now the shop number 281-888-3423. We also have a mobile phone that we have people call and make reservations, which is 832-803-5841. You can call or text that phone any hour of the day. I hate to say that because they really do, but whatever, it happens.
Who's texting y'all at 3 in the morning for a car?
Bro, you gotta understand, like, think about it. If we go into the club or if there's a post on Instagram, somebody gets a bright idea, hey yo, like, this is no exaggeration. Hey, y'all can rent a car today, yo. Like, it's 3 o'clock in the morning, it's a Waffle House hours. Like, there's nothing we can do. But you know what I mean? But we created that, so we have to live with that too. You know what I'm saying? So you create that accessibility, you got to live with that accessibility. So it is what it is. We love y'all. And the apparel, also the apparel is on the website. We have a website which is nextlevelautomotivellc.net. You can check that out. It's linked to the apparel, all that. That's on my page. For Next Level Clothing Texas, which is hoodies. We got in-store caps, specials, whatever. We got it all.
That's good. Can you put a fifth wheel on a fifth wheel?
You can. That would be a 6-wheel. Uh-huh.
Wow. I wanted to know that. And he did it. So I'll be hollering at you to put a fifth wheel on a fifth wheel on my my what is
Deuce
it?
and a quarter.
Deuce and a quarter. Callback junk. See?
A 5.6 on a 225.
That's funny, man. We really want to thank you for coming out, and just sharing with us your journey into being an entrepreneur, man. That's always a positive thing. We always love to showcase, what people are doing in this city. Thanks a lot. Now, so, once again, this has been Big B of Next Level Automotive. And also, you can find me, once again, Avery Zadius, at Avery Zadius on IG, Twitter, and you can find Just Devon as Dr. Douglas on IG and Just Devon on Twitter, and also Dr. Douglas on Twitter as well. And both of us at My Humble O. And we're also on YouTube, people. We are on YouTube. Now, if you want to be a part of the Humble Hive, you've got to like, share, and subscribe. Humbly yours.
Hey.
In My Humble Opinion podcast, H-Town too sweet. H-Town's too sweet.